Hello, what have we here?
You're wrong.
Damn! What the hell was that?
Game over, man. Game over.
You're wrong.
You finished?
Well, I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
Greetings, boys and girls, lemurs and squirrels, and welcome to the Week in Geek, a wholly owned subsidiary of Free Range Idiocy, wherein, oh my gosh, this is turning into a truck freaking load of chickens on the highway and Chip's intro right here, wherein we, your humble idiotic hosts, present our midweek dose of geekery for you,
the people.
Thank you, sir. Sit back and relax as we scrape the best news we found off the bottom of the interweb shoe and let you know exactly how we feel about it. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the lead editor-in-chief bottle washer of the Week in Geek. I give you the man they call Tim.
May I ask for a slight adjustment to my intro? Because
I know where this
like
is heading, and the answer is no.
I would like to be referred to as the two-time champion. Yeah.
Okay, here, I'll do this one.
Woo!
I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the lead editor-in-chief bottle washer and lead participation trophy winner of the Week in Geek. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you?
Doing all right. You know, it's a day.
Nice.
It's a day.
You've had a couple days, my friend.
Yeah, well, you know, hey.
Are you? So I forget. Are you doing dry January or are you imbibing?
No, I'm doing a 30-day
fast
fast on alcohol for my own particular reasons. That here's the problem I have. It's not. I understand why people do it. I understand that some people just get into these things and they dry January, sober October, whatever. And if you want to do that, that's fine. My contrarian wiring hears that, and I'm like, I want to drink just because you're telling me that, oh, well, it's dry January. Oh, really? Like, it's just that part of me. So, yeah, I'm doing it for my own reasons. We are now into week 2, and the world has been just trying to drive me into a bottle. It ain't working. It ain't working.
This is our first Week in Geek since the new year, so we had to skip last week because poor Uncle Todd was basically cruising on fumes as we did the Tron episode.
I was a snot factory. That's all I was.
He was kind of running his own little jazz band just with his nose alone. But nonetheless, he is back in fine working order and is raring to go. So,
not sure how fine working order, but we'll see.
How was your new year, sir?
It was good. Yeah, I mean, you know, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, it's been now 12 days. I can't even remember what happened on Friday. We're recording on Monday, so the chances of me remembering what happened on December 31st evening to the 1st is, you know, shady. Yes. I do know for certain I did not see the new year rung in properly. I was in bed and asleep at 12:01 a.m. As is befitting for a man who is hurtling to the precipice of 50. That wasn't my thing.
I made it. I was
damn
near close to not making it, but I made it. I even sent Uncle Todd a text. Didn't hear anything back for obvious reasons because he was chopping wood and sleeping deep. And I saw the new year in, and I just want to say they tried doing this. New Year's Rockin' Eve in Chicago bit. Like once New York did it, then they swung over to Chicago. Man, was it a chaotic mess. It was just not.
For what reasons?
Well, because Chance the Rapper was hosting. I think they were trying to. Who's the guy? Not Dick. What's his name?
Clark.
Not Dick Clark, but who's the guy that took over for him?
Is it Ryan Seacrest?
Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
So Ryan Seacrest would be like trying to, communicate with Chance the Rapper and be like, how are things in Chicago? What's going on? And Chance the Rapper is just off in some other world with the folks around. Like he probably can't hear him because of all the chaos going around him. And so they try to do the countdown. He's off by a second. And I mean, it was just like, there was just all sorts of chaos and things. And I remember seeing an article a couple days later, like, yeah, they're going to be New Year. The company or whoever does New Year's Rockin' Eve is going to be reevaluating, I think, doing this in multiple locations. It's just too complicated to coordinate, apparently.
Well, it's just a logistical nightmare. I mean, have you ever, and here's a question. Did you ever, at any point, did you ever think, I would really like to go to Times Square for New Year's Eve? Was that ever a thought for you?
No.
Okay. Yeah, me neither.
I like comfort. I like to be warm and, just relaxing. And I've seen the video of the people who wait for 10 or 11 a.m. when they open up the gates, and apparently they're wearing Depends, and they're all
because you're not allowed to leave once you get in those little.
No,
hell with that.
I'm just like, it's not worth. And if you're not in the front, like if you're not in a place where you can see something of significance, it's just like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, well, you be in Times Square to check it out. I don't care.
Yeah,
I can watch it on television. I can see all the cool stuff on television. I don't care.
I've heard tell of some of the folks who have gotten like the sweetheart deal of like they knew someone who knew someone who knew someone who had like office space, or they owned a building that overlooked Times Square, so they could be in one of the buildings with a view of Times Square, having champagne in a warm room, with a great view and all that stuff. And I'm like, that's great. And I've even heard some people who said that a great thing to do is to volunteer to like throw confetti.
Yeah.
And that way you have a great view, and you can probably pee, at some point during the evening, instead of just wetting yourself, which just from a logistical standpoint, number one, I mean, setting aside the fact that, there are times that, peeing yourself, I guess, is permissible. Running a marathon, I guess, would be the number one. But just from a logistical standpoint, like peeing yourself December 31st in New York, you're only going to like, you're like setting yourself up for urine induced hypothermia. And what an embarrassing way to go that is. Like, how did Grandpa die? Oh, well, he peed himself in Times Square and caught hypothermia. He died in a coma 3 days later. Like, what? I just don't get it. I do not get it. I did a New Year's Eve in Western Massachusetts, in Northampton, Massachusetts, one year, and that was about as close to any kind of thing that I would ever want to do. And even that, I was like, this is cold, it's annoying.
I remember doing like first night in Portsmouth. We did a first night.
Yeah, I did a couple of those, but even those were friggin' miserable. Oh, well, cold.
They were fun up to a point. You know what I mean? Like the experience was interesting, but you get to a point where there's so many people to your point, it's so cold. You try to go to warm places. They're packed. You have to like push in like sardines. It's just like, why am I doing this to myself?
And for a lot of things like that, what I found, at least if I remember right, for the Portsmouth, New Hampshire thing, was you'd get the button and you're like, oh, cool, I can go into everything. And you couldn't go into everything. You had to then get tickets for stuff. I'm like, well, then what the hell is the point of the friggin' button? I can't get into anything. So it ends up being somewhere between a gyp and freezing you took us off. And who wants that? So my New Year's Eve has routinely, and I now have, I want to say I've played 2 New Year's Eve gigs.
Oh.
Since starting a band this year, actually 2026, I believe, is the 20th anniversary of me starting a band. So in the past 20 years, I've played 2 New Year's Eve parties, and I'm like, that is now enough. Like, I will never do those again, because it's just, again, a thing of like, it's friggin' amateur hour. So
yeah,
I am so happy to be home and even to be sound asleep.
Yes,
when the new year strikes.
Indeed. During Christmas, I went with the kids to the Chris Kindle Market in Daly Plaza in downtown Chicago, and I got to tell you, my experiences going there have slowly ratcheted from it's like a ghost town, we can enjoy ourselves, to owe the humanity, there's so much humanity. That was what we went through this time. It was literally like, got there early, got in line to get in, which never had to do before.
Mm-hmm.
Line wrapped around the city block a couple times. We finally get in there. Can't tell the difference between lines for things and just cross traffic. You finally get your brat and your glue wine. You're walking like this, trying to not spill the glue wine and drop your brat or whatever it is. We get a pretzel or something like that, and can't sit anywhere, can't stand anywhere. Everyone's moving. It was just. And at one point, like, we do this as a tradition. As we're walking, I'm just like, why are we doing this again? This is just like, you can't even look at anything because there's too many people to blocking your view to see anything. It's just like,
yeah, that's usually, you hit that point. I've learned one important lesson in life is when you start asking that question, like, why am I doing this? It's usually, I should have made this decision earlier.
Yes.
And now it's really being put in my face. Like, it's time to discontinue whatever this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We stayed home. We brought some food in and, did some takeout, brought it home, just enjoyed some nice family time. And then, we watched, Anderson Cooper and, what did we watch? Wait. I think Stranger Things finale, I think, was on New Year's Eve. Yeah, it was on New Year's Eve. Yeah, we had dinner, watched Stranger Things. Then we put on Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen getting drunk as we got closer to midnight. That's always hysterical. Anderson Cooper apparently can't hold his liquor to save his life. And Andy Cohen, who's not even working for CNN, has to take over and run the show because Cooper's just gone. So it's phenomenal. It's great.
Awesome.
It's great chaotic television. You would like it as an Agent Chaos, my friend. You would like it.
The problem is I got to be up that late. That ain't happening.
No. So no, good New Year's overall. Good start to the new year. Good start to the new year for us, at least locally. Yeah. So that's kind of where we are. Also, leading into the new year. Now, I'm only talking about this because we did not have a week in Geek.
We talked about this last week in the episode.
I didn't get to do a breakdown.
There's no breakdown. There's no
158 to 110. Masterful management of talent. To quote the great Stone Cold Steve Austin, you got to work with the talent you got. And I did it all season long, ladies and gentlemen, and I came out on top. Even in the last week when no one seems to be playing anyone, guys are just, playing for a half and then sitting for the second half, I was able to survive, and I am now a 2-time defending fantasy football champion, and proud of it. So, yes, once again, this will be the last time we talk about Tales from the Fantasy Gridiron, at least until August, when we will once again do the draft. But I just want to remind everyone, my draft rated a C- by Yahoo. I was told I wouldn't make it anywhere. It was that was how things were going for part of the season, and I rose up like a phoenix, and came back and won, and showed who I am as the fantasy football champion. Woo! There it is. All right. I am done. I
just want to say,
I am done.
I have this bottle of pre-made old fashions. I have glasses right over there. I could pour this right now because that is where you were trying to drive me to. I am not going to.
All right. Well, in the interest of helping you not go in that
Instead, I'm going to have another one of these and just make believe.
Okay.
Then I'm over here getting schnockered and I don't have to listen to this
participation
trophy nonsense.
To bring your blood pressure down a little bit, you sir, have an addition to the family.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to tell us about it?
We welcomed our newest addition to the family, Happy Hogan, to the fam, our new feline companion.
It's not called Dizzy?
My wife wanted to change the name, and I agree.
Okay.
So
it's Happy Hogan now?
Yes.
Okay.
She just wanted to go with Happy, but I was like, I need to have some sort of geek tie-in. Our other feline companion who had made various appearances on the show. We before Christmas we had to put her down. It was advanced kidney disease and just was not good. So she went across the Rainbow Bridge, and not to get into too many details, my wife has been dealing with a lot of health issues over the past 8 months, and was really hoping to have a bit of companionship. So I eventually broke down.
You got the bobcat?
No, no. So we got Happy from the local the Animal Rescue League of Greater Portland.
Nice.
And I spotted him online, and I was like, okay, I think this has a shot here. So we went and we met him, and he is he's a meathead of a cat. Like, he is, to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's a solid ass cat.
Yes.
This cat is about 12 pounds. He is pure muscle, big old head, no neck. Like, it's literally like we put a collar on him, and I had to keep making the collar bigger and bigger. I'm like, I don't know that this thing is gonna fit. Like,
yeah,
just no neck whatsoever. He's like a gym bro of cats, and he's polydactyl, so he has like the thumb.
Oh.
And so his paws are big, gray, kind of tuxedo sort of thing going on. And
so kind of like a bobcat.
A little bit. They're pretty sure that he was feral. He was brought in as a stray. He's like 1.5 years old is what they're estimating.
Oh, wow.
And so, but he does have like the big cheeks, which tends to be kind of a feral cat sort of thing. So yeah, he's an absolute.
Is that due to nutrition because of them being feral? Is that?
I'm not sure what causes that. I've heard it a couple of times, and I've never bothered to look it up. I'm not sure why that is. I'm guessing it has something to do with either the food or like defense mech. I don't know, whatever. But one of my wife's biggest problems was that every other the other cats that we had were all, I was their human, and she wanted a cat that loved her. She wanted an animal that loved her. And
love me.
So Happy has taken to my wife.
Nice.
And Kaylin, actually, very much. He loves the ladies of the house, and he'll like right now, before we start recording, my wife was yelling up the stairs to me, "You should have just seen him." And because she's laying in bed watching like Modern Family reruns or something, and he'll just walk up onto her chest and then just flop on his side, just and just love me, and just will snuggle and cuddle. Like, he wants to get under the covers at night. We'll get under the covers and will literally snuggle in the crook of her arm and put his head like right here. So I'm super happy for her that she has that, because that's very nice for her. So
nice.
So yeah, Happy is the new addition to the family. He appears to be a very good boy so far. He is funny, man. He just cracks me up. I'll be walking around the house and I'll see him turn the corner. I'm like, "What's up, big fella?"
You left out the best factoid about him.
Oh, and what's that?
His prior alias.
Yeah, so he was listed on the Animal Refuge League's website. His name was Yukon Cornelius.
There it is.
I'm like, tell me that you were brought to the shelter during Christmas time without telling me you were brought to the shelter. I was like, yeah, that's going away. That's going away immediately.
Nice.
I voted the original name that we were going to use because, I mean, as we all know, cats, doesn't matter the name. Like, cats could give rat's ass about what you name them. They're like, they have their own name that they will never tell you. My original name for him was Dizzy, after Dizzy Gillespie, jazz trumpeter, because he has the white face, but he has a little gray soul patch like right under his bottom lip, and he also has the puffy cheeks. So I was like, Dizzy. And we were good with that for a while, and then my wife was like, I really think that we ought to name him Happy, because he is such a happy cat. He is so mellow, dude. Like, he is just mellow and kind of happy-go-lucky, and he has made my wife very happy. So I was like, okay, yep, call him Happy. And then I'm like, ooh, Happy Hogan. She's like, what? I'm like, never mind. It's a dork thing. Don't worry about it. So yeah, Happy Hogan is now part of the fam.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, happy for you. Happy for the missus and being able to enjoy a feline companion. It's phenomenal. And I'm sure, somewhere, who played Happy Hogan? I can't think of his
Jon
name.
Favreau.
Jon Favreau is probably smiling. So.
Which works well too, because Jon Favreau these days doesn't have much of a neck. He's a rather big boy himself.
He's got a little puffy cheek.
He does. So. Yeah.
Well, very nice. As we are ought to do on the Week in Geek, we go through the various minutia that is out there on the interwebs, and we've had a little bit of action going on. Jokingly, have had our weekly Avengers Doomsday update of the week. Well, we actually have quite a bit to talk about because not one, not two, but 3 trailers teaser trailers have come out over the past several weeks. And they started with I believe a tie-in with Avatar Fire and Ash, and that's where they started. And then they, about a week later, would show up on YouTube so you could watch it for free and not have to suffer through another James Cameron, vehicle there. Some interesting.
You're just upset that he rammed the boat into the iceberg. All these years later, you still can't get over that.
No, what upsets me is when I watch documentaries and I'm sure the guy is a student of the Titanic, but just the absolute, arrogance and bravado about, no, that's an interesting theory, but it's wrong. And I'm just like, I hate people like you because you sit there and you think you're so much better, but we're talking about a boat that went down 100 years ago. Like, stop, it's good for you, I happen to know a lot of minutia about Star Wars. It doesn't make me any better than you. So.
It's almost as bad as people who think of themselves as like a football general manager just because they picked a couple people online.
Exactly. I challenge James Cameron to the Red 5. Let's see if you can survive, my friend. Let's see if you can survive.
Oh, good. That'll give me a week off. All right.
All right. So I didn't know if you wanted to watch these trailers in tandem and talk.
No, dude. Because they're all slow mo. Like, okay, Cap's got a kid, Thor's got a kid, and then X-Men. We get stuff.
Jeez.
It's like it's
way to be a buzzkill, man.
Well, it gives away nothing. You know what I mean? Like there's not really much to talk about. All
right.
I mean, if anything, it's just like I'm kind of glad to be, the appetite is whetted a little bit, but I mean, dear sweet God, this thing is a long ass way away. We've got another 11 months to get through. Like how many well, then again, there was an awful lot of chairs in that original cast announcement. So I guess we could theoretically go the next 30 some odd weeks and get one of these each week. I'm really looking forward to the Herbie the Robot teaser trailer. That one ought to be a real whiz bang. But yeah, it's do you really want to watch all these?
No, that's fine. All right. Cap's got a kid. Thor's got a kid. X-Men are dying. All right. Next. Let's move along. All right.
Wow.
Hey. All right. There's nothing to talk about. Not interesting.
Well,
I get it.
We did have Cyclops taking off the glasses and blasting along with his heat ray. Did you notice, though, in that is the one teaser that was actually had a little bit of an Easter egg in it because it felt like you saw Ant-Man in the background when he was in his giant form stomping around. But that was the only thing I noticed.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Long-ass wait for that
one. All right. Let's see. What else?
Got something here about logos or logos? What do we...
It's an article about. Well, I don't even know why I included this. So sorry, I didn't really prepare.
Neither. We actually have an entire article about the logos of the Adventures Doomsday. Holy crap!
Yeah, I don't know why I included it. So.
Disney confirms Doomsday has 2 logos, and they look it's a slight variation. Dear God, this is what's happening in the world today. This is the thirst for content that we live with.
Yeah. I guess circling back, the one thing I just want to ask you about with the X-Men trailer was just what'd you think about that one with Xavier and Magneto?
Well, I'll tell you. Let's watch that one. How about that? How about that? Let's watch that one.
All right.
Because I can sense that you're hurt.
I'm just confused because we normally do this, and it's
it's 3 friggin' trailers in a row, dude. I mean, it's like
but they're like 45 seconds each.
All right. Anyways,
What's it gonna do to you?
I've got the X-Men one here keyed up at
All right.
000.
Off we go.
Well, wait a minute. Are you gonna count me in here?
Sorry. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
All right. Ooh, spooky music.
Some sort of house. It's
Ian
Gandalf.
McKellen. Gandalf will return in Avengers
Sounding
Doomsday.
a little aged.
Well, I mean, Ian McKellen's like 108 now, isn't he?
Looks like Xavier's school is. Are you prepared to die? I would just love it if he just started spewing some of his best lines. Just, how are you doing today, Magneto? You shall not pass. It's like, wrong franchise, brother. Wrong franchise.
Ooh, Magneto's looking a little worse for the wear these days. Yeah, and then right there on the left, you have a...
Oh, you think that's Ultra Ant-Man behind him?
Either that or it might be a Sentinel. I don't know.
Oh, that could be. It kind of seems like the Hail Mary Cyclops is doing there when he pulls the I do like the ticking of the clock. Ticking of the clock, sorry. I don't know why I said ticking of the clock.
I like the ticking of the talk as well. The flicking of the flock.
Hey, that's
the picking of the pock as well.
That's some kind of lyric for a song or something like that. The ticking of the talk.
Yeah, there you go. There's your new hit.
So the only difference here. So I thought we were on a little bit of a trend of. It seems like the Avengers are parental units now, and so there's a little bit more at stake with having to go back into battle. But now we have basically Xavier and Magneto in some dilapidated. It looks like a dilapidated, potentially his school.
It's the X-Men mansion. Yeah,
the X-Men mansion. So. Kind of curious where this all comes in. So we are going to have X-Men.
Yes.
No real and jabroni on that one. We know they're going to be there. So
I was always such a huge X-Man mark. I'm just so happy about that.
Indeed.
Hope we get some Colossus. I was always a big fan. And actually, as much as it seems like we're heading into the Fox X-Men universe, like we're kind of bringing them. We've got, of course, Ian, and we've got Patrick Stewart, and we have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Now we've got I forget what the actor's name is, but we've got him back as Cyclops. I really hope that we get the Deadpool Colossus, because he was such an improvement over what they did in the Fox universe.
Yeah.
So great. And I also want
good.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
She was good too.
Oh my gosh. Such a great character. So great.
Nice.
Anyways, yeah, no, I'm still looking forward to it. Just hope we get there someday.
Or if we're all still here by the time it's supposed to come out, who knows?
Oh God, yeah. Anyways, what's up next, sir?
All right, so from our friends at superherohype.com, we have a rumor. A potential rumor of how the story here may go for Doomsday.
Ooh.
And this rumor basically centers on Dr. Doom's role. And it is that Dr. Doom will pretend to be a hero for much of Avengers Doomsday before his inevitable betrayal. And guess what? Or guess who this rumor comes from? Your favorite individual, notable scooper, My Time to Shine, hello. I'm actually beginning to wonder if Superhero Hype is just a gateway for My Time to Shine, hello, to get some content out there.
I hate this timeline.
The difference between
everything
Doomsday,
has gone to shit since David Bowie and Prince died. It's all just been hell in a handbasket since then. Son of.
By the way, Stranger Things last season, they worked some Prince music in there, my friend. And I read the director said that was not easy to land the licensing rights for that, but because of prior success and what they did in season 4 with Master of Puppets and running up that hill for Kate Bush, I think that kind of tipped things in their favor when they asked for some rights to Purple Rain and When Doves Cry. So,
well, I mean, the fact that you honestly, the fact that Prince is not around anymore is the reason that's most likely happening, because he didn't license anything. He didn't want anyone covering his stuff. He loved to cover other people's stuff.
Yeah,
ain't nobody covering Prince's stuff, which is kind of crazy. There was a story about Weird Al, where he had proposed a couple of times different parodies of Prince songs, and legally speaking, Weird Al doesn't have to ask anyone's permission in order to cover their songs and parody them, because it's actually part of copyright law. Like, parody is protected under copyright law, so he doesn't need to ask permission. He could just do parodies of whatever, and that's it. But he always asks permission in order, just because that's who Weird Al is. He's like he's essentially like one of those people now. You're like, okay, he's pretty much a secular saint along with Dolly Parton. Prince would always deny it, so he never parodied any of his songs.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
Anywho,
but the article goes on to say that so My Time to Shine Hello says the difference between Doomsday and other Avengers films is that Doom is on the hero side for much of it. And then continues to say, obviously he's only pretending, big surprise, but that does make it a little different from the other films. I would tend to agree, because it's one of those things that you're going to watch the movie and you're going to have the foreboding sense of knowing that he's going to do something at some point. Yeah. It's just a question of when.
Well, it also brings up the interesting mechanics of it. Like, how do you do that? Because you know that he's the bad. Like, you know that he's the bad guy, even if you only have minimal information about the Marvel universe, about the comics and all that. Like, you Dr. Doom, like, I think he's going to be the bad guy.
But in the universe and the heroes that are interacting with him,
correct. I just mean for like the audience.
But for the audience, yes.
How do you do that and still manage to get a gasp? Like, how do you still get a reaction for the inevitable thing that you know is coming?
Or as I put it in our show outline here, the rumor from Uncle Todd's favorite rumor monger that Dr. Doom may play the hero for much of the film before he John Cena's the Avengers. He's going to have that look on his face, and then he's going to kick someone. He's going to kick Deadpool in the nads, and that's all going to be a heel turn right in that moment.
Hopefully, the rest of it is executed better.
That could be. Oh yeah.
Too soon? Too soon?
No, I don't think so. But if it turns out to be true, the article goes on to say would mark a major shift in storytelling of the Avengers franchise. Really, this article, I think, is just harping on the fact that in most Avengers movies, the villain is pretty well established from the beginning of those movies and is a kind of a constant thorn in their sides throughout. This would be different, where he would be playing the role of a hero. As to your point, someone asked the question of how could that be? But if from what we've covered in past episodes about the multiversal nature of this, that he could come across as someone who is doing something to try to save all of reality or humankind. Whoops, just hit something off my desk.
It's like in the Spider-Man Far From Home, like what's his face there?
Dr. Octopus?
No. It's the one where they're in Europe, and I forget the actor who plays.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
What was it? It started with an M, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mysterio.
Mysterio. Yeah. That sort of thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm anxious to see how that works out. That could be interesting, especially if they find a good twist and a good emotional hook to the twist. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But to your point, it would be a twist that everyone would see coming, because they know at some point he's supposed to be evil, but how? Is the question.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you have to find a way to make that twist. Like, the twist is coming, but to still manage to do it in a somewhat unexpected way.
Yeah.
Like, and there's different ways you could do that. Like, they could just go. It could go so dark and dastardly. You'd be like, oh my gosh, I didn't think they would do that. Like they could go like full blown like.
We could see some heroes actually die, and there is no snap. You know what I mean, and no undoing the snap. Like they're gone. He gone. So.
Gotta go.
But just wanted to bring back a favorite of Uncle Todd. My Time to Shine Hello has something to say about Avengers Doomsday. Hey, I just rhymed. All right. Here's another. Should we skip this trailer? Wonderman? No? Yes? Maybe? I don't know.
Wow, you're very sensitive tonight.
I'm not sensitive. I'm bitter at the lack of consistency, but that's all right.
You're bitter at the lack of consistency with me, sir. The past 20 some odd years haven't clued you in on this stuff yet? Really? Whose fault is this, really? I ask you.
All right. Well, why don't we do a watch of this? This checks the box for Uncle Todd for watching because it's more than 45 seconds. It is 2 minutes and 9 seconds of just amazing wonder for Wonderman.
All right.
Not Wonder Woman, but Wonderman.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, 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 player. All right. Do you have it queued up there, sir?
I do. I'm ready, raring to go.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
I love the vibe of this right away.
Yes. This is great. So he played... who did he play in the Watchmen HBO series? What's his face?
Oh, yeah. Her Knight... Lady Knight's husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just look up the Watchmen. You can keep talking.
The thing is, I love this because I'm hoping that this isn't just created for the, hey, there he is again. I forget what his name is. Crap.
He was Dr. Manhattan. That's what he was.
Yes.
That's right.
But I love the vibe they have in this trailer. And if they can carry this through the whole series,
yeah,
I'm in. To make this just kind of almost like a Wes Anderson Marvel show.
I just love the fact that Ben Kingsley is this Oscar award-winning actor, and in this kind of coda of his career, he's playing Trevor Slattery in like 3 different movies.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that character would get so much mileage? I don't know.
Well, it works because you can literally drop him in anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what's so brilliant about it. He's just so weird that you're like, okay, why not?
So apparently he has some innate superpowers within him.
Auditioning
where he's going to rage.
To play a superhero, which is interesting.
It's kind of like Incredible Hulk-like. It's got some anger issues.
Just a bit.
The Department of Damage Control. That's an office we haven't established yet.
Yes, we have. It was in the first Spider-Man movie.
Oh, okay.
That's who comes in and takes over Michael Keaton's project. That's why we get Condor.
Yep. You going to use super speed or what?
Ben Kingsley trying to run. Gosh. Still looks more authentic than Tom Cruise. No, I have made an about face on this, sir, because we were both like not even close to lukewarm. We were both like, whatever. So dismissive of this. After watching that, I'm like, okay, I am going to find time to watch this. So
it's got possibilities.
Yeah. When does this thing kick off? I just closed it.
Shoot, I don't know.
Hang on, I'll pop it back open.
All right.
Holy crud. Okay, I opened the preview, and that gave me full volume, which I really didn't need.
No.
Premieres January 27th on the Disney Plus.
Oh, wow. That's just around the corner, apparently.
It is.
All right.
8-episode series.
We will not be doing a Real and Jabroni on this because, quite honestly, you and I have, I don't think, any context around Wonderman.
No.
Or maybe you do. I don't.
No, I have none. I've none whatsoever.
You texted me saying you liked the vibe of this. I watched and fully understood after watching it what you meant, because it does have a very interesting kind of hook to it where you're like, this is kind of interesting. All right, I want to check this out. So yeah, Wonderman, which is coming out in a couple of weeks on the Disney Plus.
Indeed.
And you, sir, have no context of Wonderman, so we know we have no idea like what he could tie back into in terms of the Marvel universe, right?
No, I mean, I think it's the brief little bit I've read about this thing is that it is kind of accurate. Like it is an actor who's playing a superhero in the comics or something like that. And that's about all I kind of have frame of reference for. What I do appreciate is that they are taking on some of the idea of like superhero fatigue.
Yes.
In this, and kind of like, okay, you want to say we're making too many movies or we've killed comic book movies. Well, here you go. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice,
but could be fun.
Well, we shift from the Marvel universe over to Star Wars, where the topic that never seems to want to die or go away always. So Rian Johnson brings this up, but. By the way, I've been meaning. Yesterday I was listening to a podcast, I was listening to Wait, Don't Tell Me, and then it switched on Spotify to whatever the next thing was. And there's this podcast called Bullseye with Jesse Thorne, I think his name is, and he was interviewing Rian Johnson. So I kind of want to listen to that because he's a very fascinating director to me, given what he did with Last Jedi. But speaking, so this is from our friends at IGN.com, part of the portfolio. And so Rian Johnson, speaking to Polygon, said, and really what this article is about is him, really wanting to do something different when he did Last Jedi, that he was hoping that he would, shake things up and rattle, some fans, and that he was hoping for fans to push back. But he really wanted to do something different and wanted to shake things up for the franchise, and he did. He talks about challenging fan expectations of where this saga story was headed ever since Empire, and I know I think a lot of people were wondering, how is this middle movie going to work? Was it going to have a similar arc like the first movie was very similar to Episode 4? But as we find out, Last Jedi was very different, and he did some things that shook up the fans, that shook up the franchise itself, in a few different ways. We find out that our childhood hero Luke Skywalker is a bit of a hermit. We find out that Rey is not we end up finding out that in the third movie, we find out she is part of a lineage. But in the second movie, Rian Johnson very clearly wanted to establish that she wasn't anyone special. And he was definitely sending him on a path of getting away from this familial line thing that had been going on for a long time, where it was the Skywalkers and, like everything kind of was driven through that family, and moving to a place, especially at the end of the movie, where you see the boy with the broom, and he clearly has the Force. And so it seemed, I was very hopeful that the third movie was going to really go in a different direction, where we go from a place where Force users are few and far between to being, much more of, the general, I don't want to say everyone in the population has it, but it would become something like, it was almost a turning point of the Force kind of spreads through people even more so than before. And so he talks about wanting to, just deliver a movie that shook the box and upended fan expectations, rather than serving up something that handled the franchise and its audience with kid gloves, something other entries in Disney's Star Wars sequel trilogy have been accused of. And for him, the worst sin is to be afraid of doing anything that shakes it up. Because in his estimation, every Star Wars movie goes back to Empire, and onward, shook the box and rattled fans and got them angry and got them fighting, got them talking about it. And then for a lot of them, got them loving it and coming around on it eventually. He talks about, I think, how he gets into an element. I think part of this interview is also talking about Wake Up Dead Man and Knives Out Mystery, which was here in Another Thing a few episodes ago, and talking about, how in a lot of ways, the Last Jedi by equating its handling of Star Wars lore with how he was attempted to carefully handle the subject of religion in that movie. People are raised outside of faith sometimes think it's the touchy thing that you have to handle with kid gloves. He grew up a Christian. It was very personal for him. He's not a believer anymore, no longer a Christian, but when he was, you're constantly rattling the box for yourself, constantly being offended by things. But then it's not like that just shuts off the real world and how it challenges your beliefs. And so he views it as like, it's just like being a Star Wars fan, seeing a twist where you're like, oh God, that doesn't make me feel great because that's not what I expected. But talking about how over time people kind of process it and come to terms with it. So that's kind of where his intent was to really bring something new and different. It's one of the reasons I very much enjoy the movie. I think it was a breath of fresh air. I love that it is very different. You really can't draw a line from that back to Empire and say, oh, this is following this pattern or this formula. It was its own movie. It was very different. And whether you agree or disagree with the way he approached it, I think, that's the point. He wanted to get, in a lot of ways, it's, again, coming back to John Cena, right? Cena just wants to get a reaction, whether it's cheering or booing, it doesn't matter as long as it's a reaction. And I think Rian Johnson was kind of hoping for that he just wanted to shake things up. But your thoughts, sir, on this timeless topic that we always seem to keep coming back to?
If he was trying to shake things up, I mean, mission accomplished. It definitely pissed some people off, and then pissed even more people off because then it forced, well, not forced, but then it seems as though Lucasfilm and J.J. Abrams then panicked and retconned everything that happened in the prior movie out, and then gave us, the Rise of Skywalker, which was supposed to be like fan service galore, and which ended up just being like meh.
Yeah.
Here's something I hadn't thought of, and I will throw out my thought first, and then I'm curious to see what your thought is.
Sure.
I had never thought of this, because I know that when Empire came out, there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh my gosh, Vader is Luke's father," and all this, and blah, oh, it can't be real. It's this, that, and the, like, it caused a stir amongst fans because at that point, Star Wars made all the money when it first came out, exceeded expectations. So the sequel definitely was firmly in the zeitgeist. And even though there wasn't an internet, there was still a lot of people talking about it, all the kids in the playground and all that, and magazines and stuff like that. My contention is that Empire would actually have had more of a reaction like what The Last Jedi had you had the original sequel, the original, the prequel trilogy first. If the movies had actually been produced in order 1 through 9, I submit to you, Episode 5 would have had much more of a reaction closer to what we saw with Episode 8, Last Jedi, because people would have been so immersed in what it was and then be like, oh my gosh, you're cheapening this, and oh, you this. And I feel like that's the reason why it gets kind of this pedestal treatment is because it was, in retrospect, over that original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when it came out, it was a fantastic movie. But then when you look at the arc, you're like, well, of course, Empire was like the pivot point. Like that's where things really, kind of took a turn and all this, and it's appreciated. The same thing happened with Last Jedi, but you also had a fan base that had decades to pore over this stuff, become very entrenched in their beliefs and in their way of thinking.
Mm-hmm. And
then when you shake that box, it pisses people off a lot more because that headcanon is cemented. Mm-hmm. It is fossilized in people's heads. So the idea of Luke being embittered, is like inconceivable to them. He has to be that same guy. He has to be the golly gee shucks. Let's just go get him one more time, fellas. He can't have changed, and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see what your reaction, but I never really thought of it that way. But I'm curious what you would think of that. I think it's, but I think he's right here, and I think it's honestly like it's an interesting comparison when you look at what Kershner did with Empire and what Johnson did with Last Jedi. And I think that they're both fantastic directors who took things in a different direction and kind of made the story their own. And one, unfortunately, one's revered and the other one is kind of reviled. And I think that's unfair to Johnson. I think he should be put, maybe not right next to Kershner for the job that he did there, but not that far below him. I think it's one of the best, if not the second best or third best of all the Star Wars movies, because it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, what do you think of my theory? Am I right or am I full of crap?
The only thing is, what will always set Empire apart. So I agree with you. If the prequels came first, Empire plays as a very different movie because everyone knows who Darth Vader is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
True.
that to me is the secret sauce of why Empire is sometimes, whether people want to admit it or not, Empire is a great movie, don't get me wrong, but it will always go down in cinematic history as having one of the greatest twists that you can never go back and pull off again.
True. Yeah.
Which is this mysterious villain who is beating up our hero, then drops one of the biggest bombs on him as he's basically hanging on for his life, and plucks all hope away from him because he now has to wrestle with the realization that his father is this monster. And there's really no duplicating that. Like, that is such a moment in time, not just from a story perspective, but just the ability to pull something like that off is so hard to do these days.
Yeah.
Because of all the leaks and rumors and so on and so forth. So I would, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you, because I do think if everyone goes into episode 5 with full knowledge of the backstory of Anakin Skywalker, it doesn't have the same resonance. It doesn't shock you. It doesn't, cause you to, react emotionally, because who doesn't identify with the idea that one's parent, sadly could become a monster, and whatever shape that may be, right? You know what I mean? Like that was the thing when I go back, and Kevin Smith talks about this, I think, a few times, is like that idea of the son having to try to, that this is this arc that's playing out of Anakin's, rise and fall and kind of rise again through his son, is something that really connects with people, because who doesn't have, family issues and family, drama that they have to contend with. And so that's kind of my thought on your idea. I mean, I agree with you. I think Empire is a very different movie, but not maybe for the reasons that you're stating. I think because some of the gusto behind it, the oomph, is really reduced if you know the backstory.
Yeah, I guess more so. I was thinking more, and you're totally right in what you're saying. Like I kind of there is a big hole in my thinking there. I guess what I'm saying is that, like, if there had been, if everything was different, then everything would be different. Like if Vader hadn't been revealed, if the twist was still the twist and all that, but the idea that if there had been all of this story previously, and then you have that twist, there would have been, I feel like the reaction would have been different. Now, of course, that's changing the nature of all those movies and all that. So I mean, it's logistically impossible. My point being that if there were truckloads of story in front of Empire as opposed to just one movie, sort of like how you have 7 movies previously to The Last Jedi, it plays differently, because then people are going to have this built-in, fossilized headcanon. So
yeah,
but you're absolutely right pointing that out. But so big plot holes in my theories there.
No. I mean, it's a well taken point, and it very well could be received poorly by fans, because I think the upsetting part would be how dare the villains win. But I think the reason why I don't think that didn't bother folks as much is because, I mean, let's be honest. Like, I don't remember what the reaction to Empire was. Like, we all look fondly back on it. I wonder how, like, in that time in the early 80s when a lot of movies ended on a hopeful and happy note, and you have this dark ending to Empire Strikes Back, I wonder how it sat with movie audiences. I wonder if they left the theaters being like, well, gee, that was a real downer. What the heck, you know? And, but because again, we weren't in this, you know, grandiose Hollywood cycle where everyone's like, oh, yeah, I can't wait for the sequel when they, you know, kind of address what happened. I mean, it's like, what comes after this now? Like, like what happens to Han Solo? What happens to, you know, there's just all these, you kind of leave almost like, you know, like Lucas leaves it with hope because you see Leia and Luke kind of looking out as the Falcon is going on its mission, but you're also kind of like, well, what the hell happens, you know? And it's just, it's kind of like an unsettling feeling, but I think that's what Rian Johnson is getting at is, and, you know, I'll read the quote again here. You know, he says, the worst sin is to be afraid of doing anything that shakes it up, because every movie going back to Empire and onward shook the box, rattled fans, got them angry, got them fighting, got them talking about it. And then for a lot of them, got them loving it and coming around on it eventually. And I think that's his point is like, if this thing isn't interacting with you, it's not alive, you know? And so to do something that placates everyone is kind of like, you know, copping out and just giving people what they want when you could really go in and challenge them to think maybe differently about it. Going back to the religion thing he brings up, you know, when he says it's like being like a Star Wars fan, seeing a twist where you're like, oh God, that doesn't make me feel great, because that's not what I expected. And he says, as a Christian, the world is constantly throwing that at you. It's just your daily life. Assimilating that is how you grow. And that's part of the purpose of both fandom and religion. It's only alive when it's interacting with the world.
True.
And and that's his point is if he does something and everyone kind of goes and comes out and is like, yep, okay, fine, I'm good, and then just completely forgets about it. Maybe that's like, you know, Avatar to some degree. Like you talked about, James Cameron does these movies and they have zero impact on the culture because everyone goes to see them, makes a crap ton of money, and then no one talks about them until the next one comes out. So, you know, I'm not saying that's a problem with his movies, but I'm just, I'm kind of taking what Rian Johnson is saying and maybe, you know, throwing it at that to say, is that maybe the reason? Because it doesn't challenge enough, you know, like there's, you know, there's certainly space for there to be, you know, I don't know, maybe some controversial something happening in that movie, but it just seems like he's just trying to get to his fifth part to kind of wrap it up, you know. That's about it. Yeah. So, but this article was really interesting to me because it makes me, to me, it I don't want to say it justifies, but it kind of supports or emboldens my view of The Last Jedi, where it is a different movie and I like it because it's different. Now, are there things that could be improved on it? 100%. I mean, oh God, I'm doing awful with names tonight. Who is the actor? Not Guillermo del Toro, Benicio del Toro.
Yes, is the
who plays the hacker.
Yeah.
We never seen a hacker in the Star Wars universe. And I like if there's one, you know, nit that I have to pick with the movie, it's that he could have been showcased differently. He felt like a throwaway part for such a well-known actor, and his character was really interesting. I mean, I would have loved for him to continue on into the third movie and be kind of like this weird, like rogue character that's not Han Solo, where he, you know, throws all in with the rebellion, but is just kind of like, he kind of helps them, but he kind of screws them sometimes, you know, sort of thing, like a little agent of chaos. So, you know, there's certainly room for it to improve, but the core part that really cheesed fans off around Luke and him not continuing to be this beacon of hope, but rather this, you know, uber realistic version of, you know, becoming a skeptic or becoming cynical or whatever it is. You know, to me, I appreciated that, you know, because the world does, you know, as you grow, you change, you know, you're not the same person you were 20 years ago. So yeah, so that's, I appreciate it. I raised my glass to Rian Johnson. I appreciate the art that he put out there, and I need to see this third Knives Out movie because it looks fan-freaking-tastic.
It is. I think it was very well done. May we take a brief pause here for a moment?
Absolutely so.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
One eternity later.
All right,
Feel
sir.
5 pounds lighter.
I do, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
I shed some water weight right there.
Nice.
What do we got left here on the docket?
All right. Well, from Marvel to Star Wars to, the next thing related to both of those, professional wrestling. That's right. If we're nothing else, we are consistent. And this past weekend on SmackDown, we had a 3 stages of Hell match. I don't know for how long it has been since we've had one, but basically it is 3 different match types set to a 2 out of 3 falls rules. And so Drew McIntyre faced Cody Rhodes. I think the first match was a standard wrestling match. Second match was a Falls Count Anywhere match. And the last match was a steel cage match. I did not watch this at all, so I can't comment on everything that preceded the ending. But the ending was one Jacob Fatu making his return. He had a beef with McIntyre. McIntyre called for the door to be opened. There's Fatu staring him in the face, and he starts whooping on Drew. And Cody just kind of comes in and says, "Jacob, what are you doing? Don't You're ruining my arrangements." And Jacob then continued to ruin Cody's arrangements to the tune of Drew basically crawling and falling out of the cage onto the floor to win the Undisputed Championship. So Drew McIntyre is now your WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Champion. So yes, sir. Thoughts on this title change, which I don't want to say it would seemingly come out of nowhere, but it kind of we're getting into WrestleMania season, so it's a little odd to change at this point. But
I mean, we're not on the road quite yet because we haven't hit the Rumble.
No, we're kind of on a side road heading toward the road.
We're on a what would you call it, an access road, if you will.
If you will.
But first and foremost, you were very astute in our pre-production meeting, pointing out that this is the lame part of WWE cage matches these days, is the fact that like the cage is meant to keep people out and keep the participants in, and the fact that you just have easy access to the friggin' door for these matches for entry and exit is so lame. It's just it nullifies the entire uniqueness of the cage match. That being said, credit to WWE for doing something unusual. They have not had a whole lot of title changes on the shows. Excuse me, and especially not the big championships on the shows. So, and actually, didn't they have on Raw? Didn't Io and Rhea win the ladies tag champs?
They did.
And then Becky got her IC bet. So I mean, they have made some changes, but not anything of the heavyweight championship variety.
No.
on the show. So
they're making their arrangements,
especially with Cody, because Cody has kind of been the one that ain't nobody. Once he got the belt back against Cena, he's kind of been untouchable. So kudos to them for shaking things up. And I think this is it definitely makes things a little more interesting heading into the Rumble. And then, of course, Elimination Chamber, which we both have a personal stake in. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with the other belt as well, because whether you're talking about the Rumble, whether you're talking about Elimination Chamber, it would be extraordinarily odd, don't you think, sir, for Elimination Chamber to not have at least some type of CM Punk presence?
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Being in Chicago and all.
I would agree.
So I think the fact that Cody loses his belt also puts it in doubt of are they going to keep the belt on Punk all the way to WrestleMania as well? So
I think they are.
I mean, yeah, but I think there's ways that they could make that a little bit more perilous. But you actually had some very interesting ideas of where they might be going with this heading forward. So I'd love to hear you kind of expound upon those.
Well, one of the articles I read on CageSideSeats.com, purveyors of all things cage and side seats, is
it's right there in the title.
It is that essentially this was somewhat of a brainchild of Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. That think there's recognition that Cody's title reign was getting a little stale, and I think they saw on the writing on the wall that there were a few more or more interesting options ahead of them going into the road to WrestleMania to build up to that event that would not include Cody as the champion. He has been in the title picture. He has been champ for the last 2 years. He's had a great run. I feel like he's had some really great matches, told some great stories as champion in the ring. Just phenomenal matches with Kevin Owens, with AJ Styles. Just an incredible run.
And still, I feel like he still has some runway. Like he's
He's not
well
done
over
by
with
a
the
long,
fans.
right? He's not done by a long shot, but there's something about holding, and again, it makes what Roman Reigns did more, really stand out. Where Reigns held that belt for 4 years, and it's arguable whether it was fully interesting or not, but it was interesting. He always seemed to have an interesting hook with who he fought, and Cody, I think, is just coming to a point where he's a character that sometimes is more interesting when he's in the chase than when he's the one holding the strap. Mm-hmm. And so they basically pitched this idea of doing the title change. Not surprising, the next night they were in Scotland, so you had Drew McIntyre as the undisputed champion in Scotland.
Oh, that's right, they're in Europe.
Who was able to cut a promo about finally bringing the belt back to Scotland. It was also one of those things that he almost had to win, otherwise there was just no believing in him as a top draw anymore, because it's like, how many times do you lose a championship match and still are considered a threat to challenge for said title? So I think this was the right move. I'm glad to see Drew with the belt. I think he's got, it now changes things a lot. There's now some very interesting matchups that can happen. You have Jacob Fatu, you have Randy Orton, you have Cody Rhodes, Cody in a pursuit, role as opposed to the champion role. LA Knight. You just have a whole lot of folks that could challenge Drew, and now the title picture is a little more interesting. The thing that I was sharing with Uncle Todd in our pre-production meeting that I was reading about today, which actually has me quite excited, is that there is an idea out there of using this road to WrestleMania much in the same way they did for Cody, to build up someone who has not beaten Drew McIntyre in his entire career, and who has been pursuing or wanting to pursue a world championship. And that is one Samuel Zayn.
I didn't realize we were going full government names. Okay. Do we have a middle name for Samuel?
Samuel. Oh God, what was Mark Twain's real name? Wasn't it Samuel something?
I don't know.
I don't. See, I don't have a good Samuel name stuck.
Hang on, I'm actually going to look up and see what we got here. Oh wow,
Samuel Clemens Zayn.
So Rami Sebi is his
real? Oh, Rami Sebi. Okay.
Government name. So oh my gosh, his ring names: Big Larry, El Generico.
Oh, El Generico was a big. He was basically a luchador mask guy who was just, doing Sami Zayn things.
El Americano before El Americano.
Basically, yes.
Stevie McFly.
I can see it.
I totally can see that. I can see
it.
I think Sammy could actually bill himself as Stevie McFly next week, and it would work. Same entrance music, the whole deal. It works.
Indeed.
Wow. Okay. So no, there's no middle name listed. So.
So the idea being that,
oh my gosh, that was his debut name, Stephen McFly.
Oh, was it?
In 2002. Like, that's got to be rough feeling like, man, I kind of peaked with that, with my ring name when I debuted. Son of a bitch. All right.
But the, don't have specifics, but the idea is that Sammy would challenge Drew before Royal Rumble for the championship, lose, or maybe he challenges him at the Royal Rumble, loses, but then goes into the Rumble and wins, so earns a shot. And then the storyline going into WrestleMania is the fact that Sammy has never beaten Drew. which is something that they've kept intact for several years. And so which is really interesting because they were actually an opener. I think they were the opening match for the very first Saturday Night's Main Event when it came back when it came back to NBC last year. They were the curtain jerker, Sammy and Drew. And because I remember they played up that statistic when they both entered, when Sammy was entering, it was, hasn't beat Drew McIntyre in 11 matches or something like that. And then he lost that one. And so you just have this great, inbuilt story of Sammy pursuing Drew for the world championship and then potentially winning it at WrestleMania, which is, that's the one belt that has kind of eluded Sammy. And, he had built such a great story with the bloodline, the turn when he turns babyface and nails Roman Reigns with a chair at the Royal Rumble is probably one of the loudest pops, next to CM Punk's return that you've probably ever heard.
Yeah.
And then the next month to hear the crowd in Montreal when he challenges for the title was just incredible. I'm kind of excited about this prospect. I really hope they go this way because to me, I think this can be like the feel good story for wrestling for 2026 is Sami Zayn finally becoming a world heavyweight champion. And to your point, Sammy does not, so Drew gets a good 3-month run with the belt, so shows he's a capable champion. And then, Sammy, if he were to win, does not need a long title reign. It could be for a couple months and then, some young up and comer, comes along and whoops him and off he goes. Maybe Braun Breaker, spears him out of his socks. Who knows?
Well, they do have history.
They do have history. So it's going to be very interesting to see kind of where they go with this. But I'm actually, at first when I kind of heard rumblings, the title change might happen, I was a little like, kind of want to see Cody, maybe Cody and Roman for the championship again, but and that might still be the case. They may still go with Cody.
No, pretty please, no.
No, they may because it's the rubber match because Roman is 1-1, Cody's 1-1, so it'll be a match to determine who is the greatest of the era. So I think that's got some
the rubber match that nobody wants.
I did also read a rumor, and it would be very cool if they did this if Roman Reigns turns heel again with Jacob Fatu as his enforcer. That would be pretty cool.
But again, we've kind of seen it. Like,
not like that. Not with the out of control maniac Jacob Fatu.
But then, what's the play? Then Jacob betrays Roman. Again,
maybe at some point.
Again, like the as the bloodline turns, I just couldn't give less of a crap about anything going on with any version of the bloodline at this point. Like it's driven into the ground for me.
All right.
I may be alone on that, but I'm.
What are your thoughts, sir? I mean, you haven't like me, you didn't see the match. I know you haven't been following the show in a couple weeks, but thoughts on Cody losing and Drew being the champ and some of this, tomfoolery with
I think it's a great move. I think there's any time that you have long championship reigns, then there's the people who have the nostalgia for the Attitude Era who were like, oh my gosh, it used to be that the belt would change hands and this and that and the other. But then there's also the case of like they were hot shotting the belt around to everybody. So did the title reigns even mean that much? And the fact is, like, yes and no. But a short title reign can be incredibly meaningful. Mick Foley, when he won his first championship, didn't hold the belt all that long. I think it was a matter of weeks, if it was even that long. But it was incredibly emotional. It was incredibly important. It's still a moment that people talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, it doesn't need to be held that long. But by the same token, just because you hold the belt for 4 years does not mean that you are all that interesting. Like I would plead the opposite case that, to me, Roman Reigns was a boring champion. The most interesting thing about him was usually his opponent, because Roman was going to come out and do Roman things. It was the same entrance. It was the same this. It was the same that. And most of the time you could almost book it that he was going to win because it was so obvious that they were on that path. And I was already just not enamored with his character from watching, like the last gasps of like the Big Dog or whatever the hell era where, Vince was just pushing this guy down everyone's throat, to then when he won the championship, it was like, all right, fine, so I already have that bias and I get it. So you don't need to have long championship reigns. So, I mean, it's great that I think they're giving Drew the belt and he can do great things with it. He gets to hold the belt in front of an audience, which he didn't get to do. He held the belt back during COVID. So good for him that he's getting this opportunity. And I think now, especially with the character work he's done, this could be very interesting between now and Mania, because this is a guy who has managed to kind of cultivate his own little niche of heel heat. That his own brand, if you will. So that's really cool. I would almost rather see some type of simmering thing between Drew and Sammy that doesn't quite culminate until Elimination Chamber. I would love to see Sammy almost last minute be challenging.
Okay.
That sort of thing. But either way, I would love to see a McIntyre Zayn match for the championship at WrestleMania, and I think that could be a great way to send people home, is Sammy winning his first world championship. That'd be great. I mean, the thing is, like, Sammy is one of those guys that it doesn't matter what he's doing, people react to him. Like, people want to like this guy. It was one of the things where when he was a heel and doing the conspiracy theory thing, people just wanted to cheer for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's that guy. So yeah, I'm totally on board with that. I think it'd be very interesting, and it does, by virtue of what they're doing with this belt, I do maintain that it does create a little bit of question about, well, geez, if they did this with Cody's belt, I mean, is Punk really safe? And even if they do give him the belt, like it produces, and it's the reason why I think that there is validity into doing a change on a show like a SmackDown, like a rando SmackDown in January. Like, it makes perfect sense. It's a type of thing that makes you start wondering, like, oh my gosh, like there was that random Raw that we saw back in the late 90s when Triple H was the champion, part of the, I don't know if he was quite into his reign of terror era at that point, but he was wrestling, I want to say, Taka Michinoku. And the match was it was so even back and forth that there was a moment, I think we both kind of looked at each other like, are they really going to change the belt? Are they really going to put the championship on Taka tonight? Like, what's happening? It's creating that kind of like, well, geez, something could happen here. Like, you just need to have that sort of vibe. You don't need to make the belt change hands every week. You just need to have people start to think, like, are they actually going to do this? And by doing that, you have to create scenarios or characters who are going to make people believe that. By giving Drew the belt, they're doing that. Like, they're creating this kind of feeling of like, all right, this is different. This is kind of cool. And by putting it on somebody who obviously has the legs to run that race, even better. So I'm all in. I'm all in on it, wherever it
For
goes.
the record, I think Punk's making it as champ till WrestleMania, where he will do the honors for Braun Breaker for him to become world champion. So
probably. I mean, and that's great too. Like,
but let me be the first to welcome Sammy to the family if he does achieve it, because he will be in good company with the 2-time fantasy football champion. That's right, the man they called him. You know you want to come back next season to dethrone me. You know it. You know it.
All right, sir. What have you got for and another thing for this episode?
Well, my and another thing, I listened to this over the Christmas break as I was dutifully building the Razor Crest, which is, by the way, coming along nicely. I won't go grab the chassis for the engine, but the dual engine, just mount that has to happen is just its own project unto itself. It's quite funny. I'm on bag 25 of 35.
Is this going to be assembled by the time I get there?
It will. I'm making good progress. So
You've only got 6 weeks.
Well, not only do I need to do that, then I need to go back and wire it all up for the lighting. I have a whole lighting kit I want to put into it. So,
oh, geez, this is going to be great.
yeah,
Burn down the townhouse by the time I get there.
That's right. But I was listening to what do you want to talk about with Cody Rhodes, the episode with Timothy Chalamet, who is quite the wrestling fan.
Really?
Very, very interesting interview where he displays quite a knowledge of wrestling and an appreciation for it. A big Dave Bautista fan. Loves the Bautista entrance. And talks a lot, and of course, he was in Dune with Bautista, so got to know him that way as well. But just a great interview. And Cody Rhodes is just such a natural. As again, I keep forgetting this guy is like, a traveling world champion for WWE, and yet just has time to do these shows and conducts them as a very seasoned interviewer and stuff like that. So it's really cool. It's
the booze helps,
well, that is true. I mean, hey, it helps grease the wheels, doesn't it?
I've been watching, like, there's a couple people who've done like some mixes of. The funniest one was Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes.
Kevin was getting loopy on the show.
Well, and they're just cutting it all together, so you get like all the parts where they're just being complete chaos goblins. Like,
oh yeah,
those are great. So
wasn't it Kevin who reached back to grab another glass or something,
yes.
and something fell and broke, and he's just like, oh well, what the hell?
Well, and then he's stirring his drink with the unopened bottle.
Yes. It's like, oh, we're at that phase of the evening, aren't we? Oh. Yeah. So that is my end. Another thing. What do you want to talk about with Cody Rhodes? The episode with Timothy Chalamet. I think it's not the most recent, maybe the second most recent as of this recording.
Right on.
How about you, sir? What is your end? Another thing.
I'm going to go with something I was just watching right before we began recording. What is one of the more unloved episodes of Ted Lasso, Beard After Hours, season 2.
Beard in the 9. Dance club, baby. Woohoo! Watch him go.
It's one of those episodes where if you look at like the graph of all of the ratings for the Ted Lasso episodes, it's like this one and We'll Never Have Paris are the 2 lowest rated. And a lot of people just were kind of meh. This was like a nothing episode. And of course, it's weird because season 2 they went from, I want to say, 10 episodes to 12, and they being like the production staff, the writers, all of that, were kind of like, Apple came to them after they'd already locked like the scripts. They're like, okay, we got our story arc, we got our 10 scripts, and Apple's like, yeah, we want 12 episodes. And like, so maybe you missed the whole like the 10 episode, like we've locked the scripts, and like, no, we want 12 episodes. So that's why you have the Christmas episode, you have Beard After Hours, because they were self-contained episodes that don't affect anything else. But they fulfilled the desires of Apple to fill out the season. So I get that people are like, yeah, it doesn't really have anything to do with it. But I love the fact that there was a video I watched where Brett Goldstein was talking about, like, this was almost like a love letter to Beard and to Brendan, the actor / writer who plays Beard, and the fact that they were like, this is something that we knew he could do and all this, and thought it'd be very interesting just to see like what's Beard like when he's not with Ted. And I thought Brett Goldstein had the best description. He's like what we wanted to do is get across the point that like this isn't an anomaly. Like this is what happens with him more often than not. Like these are all these times when he's not with Ted, like just weird shit is happening with Beard. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. Like I could totally see this. Like, yeah. And especially just with all like the little indicators of, that Ted would throw out about how he's an axe throwing champion and this and that and the other. It's like,
yeah, right.
Of course he's going to be doing all these weird things, it nice. Makes total sense. And my wife was not a huge fan, but she's like, because she was like, hey, you want to watch an episode of Ted Lasso before you record? And this one was the next one in line. She's like, this isn't one of my favorite episodes. And I'm like, it kind of is for me. Like I enjoy how weird it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though
nice.
I'm not the biggest fan, and this is kind of a common thing. A lot of people aren't, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Jane Beard romance. But at the same time, I actually feel like this episode kind of explains their dynamic in a weird sort of way, even though they share the screen for very little time.
Yeah.
it kind of demonstrates why Beard would be interested in her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I kind of dig it on that level as well. So yeah,
Nice.
give that one a watch if you're of the many people who might skip that episode as they're going through the seasons. Go ahead and give it a watch. Just see if it might not hit you a little different this time around.
Very good.
All right, folks, that is it for us. Thank you all for watching and listening. You can find all of our episodes at freerangeidiocy.com. You can find all of the audio on podcast purveyors of your choice, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, all of those. Just search for Free Range Idiocy. We have full video episodes streaming on our YouTube channel. We are also on Instagram and Facebook. All of these socials are at Free Range Idiocy. If you have any thoughts, concerns, or ideas that you'd like us to talk about, send those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com. And now, sir, it's time for you to take this over and take this out. I just wish that you would take your participation trophy out of the frame because, quite frankly, it's embarrassing. But hey, whatever you want to do.
To our listeners, I just want to say, never fear, the champ is here. To the interwebs, we say, you're suspect. We don't know what your reputation is in this town, but after what you tried to pull today, you can bet we'll be looking into you. And again, for our listeners, we say good day, ladies and gentlemen. And until that day comes, keep your ear to the grindstone.
You are worse than Hulk Hogan. Ah, tough.
So says you.
Now get the hell out of here!